Saturday. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you and welcome, welcome. I am so sorry for being delayed. Now let's see. Can you hear me okay? All right, I'll give you a few seconds to let me know if you can hear me. I want to say welcome. This is Live in the Music Room, and if you don't know who I am, let me just tell you I am Miss Christine. I'm going to put my little name tag up so that you can see me. Let me know how you're feeling. Happy Saturday. Look who's in the room. Let's see who's in the room today. All right, we can always count on Mobile Music. Happy Saturday, Mobile Music. How are you feeling today? Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. It's good to see you. Let's see who else is in the room. I know we're a little bit off our normal time, but in the world of live streaming, as long as you get on, that's all that matters. So I'm excited to talk about today's lesson. I just want to make sure that you can hear me okay because I was running into a lot of issues. What else is new? So it looks like 2 for 1 is in the house. 2 for 1 is in the house. All right. So happy Saturday, 2 for 1. Yes, you can hear me. This is wonderful. Thank you. Mobile Music is letting me know that you're feeling great. I'm feeling great as well. It's a new day, and I always celebrate anytime that I have a new day, right? I don't take life for granted. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad that you can hear me 2 for 1. Thank you. So let's get started with today's lesson. As you know, I'm not in my studio, so I'm doing things a little bit different. So just bear with me if we run into some issues, because you know what else is new on our Saturdays. But here we go. Let's talk about today's lesson. Hopefully you can see all the lesson points that we have. We're going to be talking about time signature and note value, okay? So we've been building all of these blocks, and today we're going to get into time signature and note value. What is a time signature? How do we count, beats? And we talked about so many different things last week. We're going to also talk about our, I call it a music game, but we're going to play a little music game or an activity, a class play, whatever you want to call it, but really to test all of the knowledge that we're going to learn in today's lesson. And as you know, we always send you home with a worksheet, and I will put that or a learning bundle. I will put that link in the classroom or in the chat, I should say, so that you can go to our school store and access those resources, okay? So let me make sure I made myself clear. We will be putting in the chat the school store so that you can get today's resources for time signature and note value, okay? Give me a thumbs up. Let me hear in the chat that you are ready to learn. Let me put it on the board. Are you ready to learn? That is my question to you. Are you ready to learn? Okay, that is my question to you. Are you ready to learn? Let me see you put it in the chat. Are you ready to learn? All right, let me know if you're ready to learn. We're going to talk about what is a time signature. Yes, what is beats, counting in beats, and how do you figure that all out? Okay, we're going to talk about all of that today. So it looks like 2 for 1 is ready to learn. Mobile Music is ready to learn. All right, this is awesome. So let me take down our lesson topics today, right? And let's get started. Oh, if I didn't mention, please like and subscribe, okay? I don't know that I mentioned that last week. Please like and subscribe. That really helps us grow. We're a tiny, tiny, tiny channel, tiny school, but we believe that if you keep on doing what you love to do, you will see the results. That's what we tell our students each and every day. So give us a like and subscribe. Even if you gave us a thumbs up last week, we need those thumbs up every week so that we know we can keep on keeping on. Okay, so here we go. Let me take that down and let's get in today's lesson. Okay, all right, let's squeeze over to our slides today. And so we are in unit 2, lesson 4. And so the first thing that I want to talk to you about is meter, okay? And so think of it like the pulse of music, right? So it's that heartbeat, all right? Hopefully everyone has a heartbeat, right? We want you alive and kicking. So if you have that heartbeat, you know that there's a constant or a repetitive or a repeating pattern of strong and weak beats. Okay, so in this case, if I'm talking about a song, because this is music, we want a nice repeating pattern. So you can see here, I have a red circle, and so this will act as our strong beat, right? And then these little 3 tiny black dots are our weak beats. So you can think strong, weak, 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 strong, weak, 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 strong, weak, 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 like that pulse. Strong, weak, weak, weak. Okay, hopefully that gives you a sense of feeling, okay, because it's going to start to make sense as we progress. And of course, our 2-star students, 2 for 1 in mobile music, I'm sure you'll be having some questions for me, but try to stay along, and if you do, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so we're talking about the pulse, and that is that hidden pattern, is what you feel, that you kind of want to tap your toe. I was snapping my fingers, or you might want to clap your hands. Okay, that's what we're talking about, the pulse. Strong, weak, 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 strong, weak, weak, weak. You can say it with me, you know, you can feel that. Okay, you know how I like to use my shoulders when I'm getting really happy. Okay, it's that feeling, that pulse that we're talking about. Then we want to talk about the patterns, right? Okay, so songs use different groupings of beats. So you might have a strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak. That's patterns of 3, right? Or you might have patterns of 4. Strong, weak, 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 strong, weak, weak, weak. I mean, it will vary, okay? But we want you to kind of start to think in patterns or groupings of beats, okay? And you can let me know if you have any questions about that. And then we have the written sign, okay? So this is what musicians look at. We call the time signature, okay? And it's at the start of a song to see what the pattern is. Now I'll dive a lot deeper, but I just want the brain to understand that when we use the word meter, we're talking about that pulse of strong and weak beats, and to start to think of the patterns or groupings of these beats, okay? And then you'll see how time signature comes into play, okay? Let me see if there's any questions so far about what I shared with you. Okay, so who is this? Mobile music is saying it's like soldiers marching. Oh yeah, you know, I've been watching this Netflix movie. I won't shout them out because nobody's promoting me, right? Like and subscribe, and maybe they will. And yes, you get this grouping if you're in the army or any of those armed forces and you're chanting, right? It might be in groupings of 2. Strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak. Get on board, you know, strong, weak, strong beat. You have this little pulse, you know, my shoulders are moving, my hands could clap, you know, you can feel it, okay? So when you hear the expression of feel the beat, right? That's what we're talking about. Great job. Thank you, Mobile Music. And of course, 2 for 1 is always having such giggles with me. I appreciate that, 2 for 1. All right, let's get back to our lesson. Okay, so now you know we have to review. We have some new students in the room. I see you, and thank you again. I should say thank you for watching the replay. Okay, that's always important to me, and I appreciate all that you do, even on the back end, which is the replay that I'm calling. Okay, so let's do a quick review here. Now, the review is from last week's lesson. So if you happen to miss last week's lesson, this is sort of a quick recap or refresher. So music is divided into equal parts called, okay? So I have to be my sound effects for right now, okay? What am I looking for? I'm looking for a music term, okay? I'm looking for a music term, and I know my STAR students, 2 for 1 in mobile music, you should be able to answer this question. Let's see if we can put 30 seconds on the clock. I'm not sure if you can see it. Okay, I see some answers coming in. I see some answers coming in. All right, I didn't start my clock. But that was about 30 seconds, so no worries there. Okay, so the answer is coming in as measures. Here's mobile music, measures, 2 for 1, measures. Well, let's see if you are correct. And I believe my screen is a little cut off, right? So let's try to fix that so you don't miss any of today's lesson. We really want to make sure that you don't miss anything, okay? So let's see if we can fix this. You know, it's always something, isn't it? Okay. Oh, I think I know what I can do. I might be able to, nope, that didn't help. Okay, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight, because this is part of how I learn, okay? So I apologize. Give me 1 second so I can see if I can fix my slide. All right, okay, I'm back, I'm back, I'm back. So is my screen better? Can you see me okay here? And I also put my blinds down, so now you should be able to see me a little bit better. Is my screen a little bit better? Okay, good, good, good. Okay, thank you for letting me know. This is how I learn. Just like you learn, I'm learning, everybody's learning. Everything is wonderful when we can learn together. Yes, thank you, Mobile Music. Okay, so let's get back to our lesson. So we were in our review, and the question was music is divided into equal parts called, and the answer that I was looking for is measures. Okay, so if you're watching the replay and you said measures, job well done. Now the next question, we talked about these measures, but we have to use something to separate these measures. What do we have to use? That is my question to you. What do I have to use to separate the measures? Okay, that's my drum roll. I don't know how that sounds, but we'll go with it. Okay, so what do I have to use to separate the measures? That is my question to you. There's something we call in music, and I don't know, you have to kind of help me out. Pretend that I'm new to music. What would the answer be? Okay, so I'll give you a few seconds to kind of put your answer in the chat. Okay, in the chat. Good, good, good. Okay, so answers are coming in, and don't be shy. We have some people in a classroom with us today, and they're probably just watching, but it's so nice if you say hello. Okay, it means a lot. All right, so we have bar lines. Okay, bar lines are coming in, and let's see if you are correct. That is correct. Ding, 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 ding. Bar lines are what separate the measures. Okay, so that music is nice and organized. How many of you are really organized? Okay, good job. Okay, so you want your music to be nice and organized so that you can read it. You don't have to try to figure out what's going on. It's all messy. The bar lines are going to organize those measures, and everything is going to be so nice to play or sing along to. Okay, now bar lines. Now the next question that I have that we talked about last week is when we're at the end of the piece, we have to put something at the end of the measure, not bar lines. Bar lines are what's going to organize or separate the measures. But what do we have to put at the very end so all musicians know that's it? Stop singing, stop playing, stop performing. What do we have to do? What do we have to do? There's something that we have to put on our musical staff. And I shouldn't have to ask, what is a music staff? Because I know you know it's 5 lines and 4 spaces. But I want to know, what do we call that music term when we know that the piece is finished? It's the end of the piece. We have to use a what? We have to use a double bar line. Let's see who was able to answer that. Good job, 2 for 1. All right, always can count on you doing your homework. Okay, so that was last week's review. Now, let's go the week before, because it's all going to play into this week's lesson. Now, here I have a music note. Kind of looks like an oval, right? What do we call this music term, and how long do we play it or sing it? You should remember from the previous lesson. We talked about this. We went to the pizzeria. In fact, it's a nice day to have some pizza. What did we call this note? All right, so let's see. Okay, I really miss my shoulder music, but I'm going to just pretend that I have that pulse, right? Remember the meter? Look how everything is coming full circle. Okay, so let's see if you can tell me the name of this note. Okay, hopefully you can see it. Yes, hopefully you can see it. Okay, so answers are coming in. Okay, I see you. So I see a whole note, and it gets 4 beats. That is absolutely correct. Let's reveal the answers. And look at that. I have my heartbeats, right? Because we just talked about that pulse, that strong, weak, 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 right? And look at our whole note. We have a strong heart, and then the other little white hearts are just weak beats, okay? But we know we have to hold this for 4 beats. So let's do it together on ta. Ta. Good. Let's try it together. 1, 2, sing with me. Ta. Super work. All right, so let's put on our thinking caps and we're going to talk about this other note. Now we just added a stem. Almost, it very much looks like a whole note, but it has a stem. So what happens to the note? We had a whole note, then we added the stem. Something happened to the duration, okay, or the note value, okay? So what do we call this note here? This you should remember, okay? You should remember, what do we call this note, okay? And if you're watching the replay, you can come back and put it in the comment section, okay? So if you said half note, okay, and look at our 2 heartbeats, and we have our ta, right? And it lasts for 2 beats. So here's our finger, our 2 fingers, and we're going to sing it only for 2 beats, okay? Ta, good. 1, 2, do it again. Ta, oh, it felt so good. Do it again. Ta, good job, okay? Good work, all right? So that's our whole note that we get for 4 beats and our half note that gets 2 beats. Notice how things are mathematically working. We started with 4 beats, then we cut it in half, now we're down to 2. I wonder what will happen next. I don't know. You have to tell me. I see your answers, Mobile Music, coming in strong, and you have duration cut in half note, 2 beats, good. And then 2 for 1 is echoing you by saying half note, 2 beats as well. Good job, okay? Super nice work. All right, and if you don't know this, then go back and watch the replay. It's all there. The resources are there in the school store. So everything is there for you if you feel a little unsure about what we're talking about, okay? Now, my next question is, what is this note? Okay, now we just went from a whole note, we added the stem, now we just filled in the note head. And you should know all of these terms that I'm using because we talked about it, okay? We had the whole note, we added the stem and made it a half note. Now, for some reason, we filled in the note head and something changed. What do we call this note and how long do we hold this note? Okay, let's see. Oh, I don't know. Maybe you forgot. I don't know. Do I need to review that? I don't know. Let's see what the answers are. Ding, ding, ding. 2 for 1 said quarter note. Let me hear you say quarter note. That is absolutely correct. So let's go back to our slides. And here we have quarter note, a sound that lasts 1 beat. And let's look at our heartbeat. Look at that. Ta. You can clap your hands, ta, or you can just point one finger, ta, or you can give me a high five, ta. Let me hear you say it again, ta. Give me a high five, ta. All right, good job. Okay, does that make sense? All right, good. Now let's see if any questions are coming in. No questions because this is really a review, okay? So most of this, I'm gonna guess you should know, and even if you don't, you have the replay. That's the wonderful thing. Okay, so as a quick review for note values now and bar lines is when I'm going to try to bring this all together. When we talk about the math, let me get a little pen here. Okay, because there is math. Whoops, I got to get a pen that writes. So let's try this color. Let's try. Actually, what color? What color? A lot of times you like to tell me what color. So I'll give you an opportunity to tell me what color I should use. Okay. But when we're talking about the math, that's what I want to emphasize, the math. I want you to remember that notes have different values, okay? So in this case, we looked at the quarter note just now, and we know the quarter note gets 1 beat. But it's going to vary, okay? It's not always going to be the 1 beat. But in our case, we know that the quarter note gets 1 beat, we know that the half note gets 2 beats, and we know that the whole note gets 2 beats, okay? That's our math, our understanding. So I'm going to give you a check with that. Then we know that bar lines divide our music into sections called measures. Okay, we've established that in our review. So let's give that a check, because we don't want to go forward if we don't have this understood. Now, my question to you is, how do we know how many beats are allowed before we can draw a bar line? That's the question. But I'm going to tell you something. It's sort of like a secret, but not really, okay? You could think of it like a math code, okay? Everybody put in math code, okay? So I know that you're paying attention. Oh, orange, okay. So 2 for 1 said orange, okay. I'll change my pen to orange, okay. So I'm going to put on the board math code, okay? Math code. And I want you to put math code on your board, okay? So that I know that we are getting ready for the math code, okay? There's my little chat there on the comments. You know what I mean, in the chat rather. Okay, so math code. Okay, now let's move on here. So now we're going to look at the two numbers here, okay? The two numbers. And you see a number here at the top, and you see a number here at the bottom. And I want you to keep in your mind that you have to think about how many and what kind. Let me say that 2 times. How many and what kind. One last time. How many and what kind, okay? So kind of keep that in the forefront. How many and what kind. Now that's going to make sense in just a few moments, okay? So let's first talk about the placement. Where would you put, what is this? I need to understand all there is about what this topic is, time signature, like I said, the code, okay? So the first thing I want to introduce is the placement, where you will find what we're calling the time signature, okay? So it's placed at the very beginning of music, right after the clef, okay? So you could think of the time signature as a fraction or just 2 numbers stacked on top of each other, and it's always placed right at the beginning after the clef. Okay, you would never see it like here in front of the clef. You're going to see it after the clef, okay? So that's the first thing that you need to understand is its placement. Now, let's move along, okay? That's pretty simple, okay? So now, we're going to talk about the top number, okay? Let's see, we're going to talk here about the top number. Here we go. So now pay very close attention because I want to make sure I'm very, very clear here. So the top number tells you how many beats or counts belong in each measure. So we're just dealing with the top number, okay? So I can highlight my top number or just put a little arrow here. Okay, we're talking about the top number. There are 2 numbers, but we're going to do 1 number at a time, okay? So we're dealing with the top number, okay? And so the top number is going to tell you how many beats or counts belong in each measure. Now, you already know what measures are, and we know about counting beats or because we talked about whole, half, and quarter. So now let's go even further. Let's look at the quarter notes. So here we have 1 quarter note, another quarter note, another quarter note, and another quarter note. And we know that each quarter note, because you just told me, equals 1 beat, remember? So if we were to take our staff, right, our 5 lines and 4 spaces, we have our bar line here, and we see our treble clef and our time signature. Just looking at the top number, we know 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4, okay? So look at that. Everything has to equal 4, that top number. So let's go back to our definition because it can be a little tricky and I don't want it to be tricky for you. So the top number tells us how many beats or counts. Beats or counts, it doesn't matter. That means the same thing, belongs in each measure. So if we were looking at the quarter note, for example, and we have 4 quarter notes in this first measure, right? When we add each quarter note up, quarter note 1, quarter note 2, quarter note 3, and quarter note 4, we know 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. And that is how we figure out how to count the measures that equal to the top number, in this case 4. And then I have ta, 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 ta. Okay, let me make sure that makes sense, okay? Because this is math, this is our math code, okay? And that's why I had you put it in the chat, because I want to turn on your brain to start thinking about this mathematically and in a sense like a code. And it'll make sense in just a moment, okay? All right, so now is my screen, my slides still cut off for some reason? Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Try to fix that. Okay, I think I fixed that. Or was I even sharing my screen? I'm confused myself. Okay, let me know if you have any questions, okay? Because I'm not sure if I was sharing my slides with you, okay? So I'm going to review what I just said because I'm not sure if my slides were, if I was showing you my slides. Okay, so here we have 4 quarter notes, right? And when we add each quarter note 1, quarter note 2, quarter note 3, and quarter note 4, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. And that is how we figure out the top number. The top number tells us how many beats or counts belong in each measure. We can even look at half notes. Okay, you know that a half note gets how many beats? You just told me in our review that it gets 2 beats, okay? So now let's put on our thinking caps. Here we now have half notes, and so we now can add 2 plus 2 equals 4, okay? That top number. Look at that. And then I have my ta, ta, remember? Okay, because you're sustaining it. Ta, ta, okay? That's for our 2 half notes, okay? All right, so now let's see. I don't want anyone to be confused. No, oh, I was not sharing my screen. Oh my goodness, silly Miss Christine. Okay, so my apologies. So if I have to backtrack because I wasn't sharing my screen, then I will do just that. But I apologize. I didn't realize I wasn't sharing my screen. So let me just go back here to what we're talking about so that we understand that the time signature and the placement, it sits at the very beginning of music right after the clef. So here we have our treble clef, here is our time signature. Here we have our bass clef, and here is our time signature. I went so far as to show you that the time signature will never be in front of the clef, looking like this. You're not going to see this kind of 4/4, we call it 4/4 time signature, in front of this treble clef or in front of the bass clef. You're just not going to see that. You're going to see it after the clef, okay? So that was something that I had mentioned when I was not sharing my screen. Okay, and then I said, let's talk about the top number. Think of the time signature like a fraction, or you can think of it as stacking notes. Whatever connects for you. Everyone learns differently, okay? So we're talking about the top note. The top note tells you how many beats or counts belong in each measure. So here, if we look at the treble clef staff, you see the 4 is at the top, here with our bass clef staff, you see the 4 is at the top, right? Now, if we put that into what we already know, which we know quarter notes, for example, if I put 4 quarter notes in this measure, we know that a quarter note gets how many beats? 4 beats. This is what you told me in the review. It lasts for 1 beat or 1 count, right? It's the same thing. So let's go back here. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4, okay? So yes, this is math. You're going to have to add 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4, and that is how you know the top number of the time signature works with each measure. In other words, equals the amount of notes. And I'll go into it further so I don't confuse you. But you want to make sure that your note value is equivalent to the top number, which is 4. And in this case, the quarter note that gets 1 beat, and when we add all 4 of them, it equals 4. So we know that this measure is correct for the top number. There is a bottom number that we have to talk about, but we're just talking about the top number. Then if we go to the we go to the half note. Here we have 2 half notes. How many beats does a half note get? That's right, you remember it. We said it was 2. Ta, right? Okay, so now let's go to our music here, and we have 2 plus 2 is going to equal 4. So this is a correct measure if we're just looking at the top number, which is what we're talking about. And I have my ta, ta, my 2 half notes in this measure equaling 4 beats or 4 counts, okay? Beats and counts meaning the same, okay? Now let's bring in the whole note. We know a whole note gets how many beats? Well, you told me right in the beginning, it lasts for 4 beats, okay? So now let's look at our measure here. We have our whole note and we're holding it for 4 beats. You're not going to add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, okay, because it's only 4 beats. So these dashes are indicating that you're sustaining the sound, okay? So ta, okay, and that lasts for 4 beats, and that we see here, right here on the top of our time signature, a number 4. So this is a correct measure. Now, any questions about the top number? Okay, any questions about the top number? All right, so as a review of what we just talked about, the top number shows the number of beats or counts, right, in each measure or bar. You know, bar or measure, right? It means the same, okay? And in a 4/4, that's how we call that, 4/4 time signature, I have time, there are 4 beats in each measure, okay? So if I have a whole note, we know that there are 4 beats in this measure because a whole note lasts for 4 beats. We know in our half note measure here, 2 half notes equal 4. So we got 4 beats in this measure from our top number. And then we have 4 quarter notes, and we know that 4 quarter notes, or a quarter note, gets 1 beat. And when we add 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, it's going to give us a total of 4 beats in this measure. So that is correct according to our top number in the time signature. Okay, so there we have our explanation for the top number. Let me get my orange pen and give us a check. Okay, all right, and my pen is a little thick, so okay, so I'm giving you your check. Good job. All right, everybody just take it in and exhale out. Good, okay, because math can kind of be, you know, you got to use different part of the brain, but I know you can do it. Here we go. So now we're dealing with the bottom number, okay, because there's 2 numbers, okay, and we talked about the top number, okay, and I told you at the very beginning, I want you to think of how many, so that deals with the top number And now we're dealing with the bottom number. What kind? Okay? And that may seem like, huh? But you'll understand in just a minute. So the top number, how many? The bottom number, what kind? Okay? What kind? And you'll see me go back to this slide in just a moment. So let's go to the bottom number. Now, we're still dealing with the math code too. The bottom number is going to tell you what kind of note equals exactly one beat. In this case, we know the quarter note gets one beat, is equal to one beat. So what does this all mean? Well, let's do some decoding, okay? Let's do some decoding. We're still dealing with the what kind, okay? So I want you to sort of imagine in your mind a fraction as we talked about. This is kind of the link, the fraction link. And think of the bottom number like a fraction. A 4, I'll highlight it, okay? A 4 on the bottom means a quarter, right? Remember we went to that pizzeria? I'll explain, which stands for a quarter note, okay? So when you see the bottom number, think of it like a fraction, 1/4, a quarter, okay? And let's go to the pizzeria. Remember we talked about that one slice of that entire pie, that quarter, that slice of pizza, and that was our one beat. Here I am with my chef hat, all ready to make you a nice hot baked pizza. And here's our quarter note, one beat, one slice of pizza gets one beat, okay? So that is something that might make a better connection for you. So as we continue to decode the bottom number, when you see a 4, okay, and you're going to see all kind of different numbers at the bottom, but right now when you see the number 4, and everybody can put number 4 in the chat, on the bottom it means quarter note. The quarter note is running the show, okay? You know, I'm always sort of dramatic and I love to kind of put the quarter notes on the show. All right, so they're running the show. When you see that number 4 at the bottom, boom, 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 just think the quarter notes are running the show, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, hopefully that does. Okay, so the rule, every single quarter note equals exactly one beat when you see a 4 at the bottom, okay? So when I go back to my slide of what kind and how many, now you're going to start to understand how many, 4 beats in each measure. What kind? The quarter note, okay? So there is the connection. Okay, so let's continue. Now, what's next? Okay, now that you have this information, how do you apply it? What's next for you? Once you have a quarter note, once you know a quarter note is one beat or gets one beat, you can easily use your math. Who knew? Okay, so you thought you were coming to a music class, and look at this, we're doing math, okay? Look at the connection. You can easily use your math to figure out a half note, right? Let me just highlight my half note here, okay? And quarter note, okay? All right, so it kind of makes sense. Not kind of, it makes sense, okay? This makes a lot of sense. Okay, let me see what's going on in the chat here. So Mobile Music is coming up saying, yes, they set the place, so to speak. Yeah, they set the pace, so to speak. Yes, the quarter notes. Now, you know, I'm really disappointed that my slides keep, I don't know, doing what they want to do. It's like they're cutting off, and you really need to see all of this great information I'm sharing with you. Ay, ay, ay. You know how it goes, right? Okay, let's see if I can fix this. I don't know why it's doing that. I really don't know why. Hold on, let's see. I think I can fix this. I want to fix this for you. And then you can let me know what you were able to see and not able to see. Okay. Okay, let's see. Can you see that? Okay, so I'm going to go back over some of the slides because I think some things were getting cut off. And this is not a topic that you want things cut off, any topic, but especially time signature. So my last comment was, once you know a quarter note gets or is one beat, right? You can easily use your math to figure out the other notes, such as the half note and the quarter notes, or the whole notes, I should say, the half note and the whole note. Okay, so once you know the quarter note gets one beat, you can figure out the half note and the whole note. Those are the notes that you and I have discussed so far. So I'm not going to talk about other notes. We're going to deal with what we've been working on in our beginner class. Okay, now I also talked about the rules. Okay, now every single quarter note equals exactly one beat. Ta, remember that high five? Ta, that one beat. Ta, okay? You will see a 4 at the bottom. Okay, so let me read that again. Every single quarter note equals exactly one beat when you see the number 4 at the bottom. So remember when we talked about that, what kind, right? What kind of note gets the beat? When you see the number 4, you know that the quarter notes are running the show. Okay, I like to think of everything as a performing arts. Okay, and so if I know that the quarter notes are running the show, I know that quarter notes get how many beats? 1. And then I can figure out my half and my whole, because everything is mathematically making sense. Then, as I mentioned, because I don't know if you were able to see my slide, when you see the number 4 at the bottom, it means quarter notes are running the show. Okay, and I even got a little curtain for them. Okay, all right, wonderful. Did you see my little pizza description here? Remember when we went to the pizzeria and we made some delicious pizza, and we talked about the one slice, right? A quarter of the pie. Okay, that was part of my slide that you might have missed. Here's my slice of pizza and my one beat, my one quarter note. Okay, and of course we started to decode this by thinking about fractions. Okay, and so think of the bottom number like a fraction. A number 4 at the bottom, a quarter, right? So I have 1/4, which means a quarter, and I have my quarter note there. Okay, so that kind of makes everything come together. You can think of the pizza, whatever works for you. Okay, these are several different options to help you decode the bottom number, and I use the math code in quotes so that you can understand this a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to move along. I think I covered everything in terms of slides not being seen or cut off, right? And so now that you know what's next, let's see. Now you understand when you see the top number, you think, how many? Almost can say that with me at the screen. How many? Top note. How many? Bottom note. What kind? Top note. How many? Bottom note. What kind? Okay, we can almost do a little show with that, right? We can always find a way to make things connect. So when you see the time signature, the top note, how many? The bottom note, what kind? In this case, the number 4. Who's running the show? The quarter note. The quarter note gets the beat. Okay, and how many beats does a quarter note get? Ta, 1. You betcha. Good job. Good job. Okay. Okay, now I use this illustration because this might also help you. How many? You got to count to 4. And then you see the number 4 at the bottom, and you can think equals quarter note. 1 quarter note. Okay, so that is how we figure out our time signature. Now let's play by the rules, which we are, a limit here. So in a 4/4 or a 4/4 time signature means every single measure must add up to 4 beats. Remember I showed you the quarter notes, the half notes, and the whole note, the one whole note, everything has to equal to the top number, 4 beats. Okay, how many? It has to equal to 4. Now the combo, you could fill it up. You could put 4 quarter notes, you could put 2 quarter notes, and 1 half note. You can do a number of combinations, but it has to equal 4. How many? 4 on the top. At the bottom, what kind? Quarter note is number 4. Quarter note. The quarter note gets the beat, okay? Or the quarter note is running the show. I think I like running the show. So here's an example. Here I will get my pen, okay? And we requested an orange pen. So let's get our orange pen. We have 1, and this is how we're going to count it, okay? So we know that each quarter note gets 1 beat. We don't need to add it anymore to get to the 4 because we know a quarter note gets 1 beat. We don't do 1, 1, 1, 1, right? Remember we talked about the meter, the pulse, what feels natural, right? So the way we would naturally count, okay, because we know how to count, we would naturally count 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's nice and even. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can clap with me. Okay, do a high five. 1, 2, 3, 4 with your shoulders. Put it in your body. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, put it in your shoulders. 1, 2, 3 with a little arm movement. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So that's how we would count the time signature. The time signature if we had just quarter notes. What happens if we have just the half notes? How do we count the beats? This is how we're counting the beats now. We already know a half note gets 2 beats, and if we have 2 half notes, 2 plus 2 equals 4. We know that. So now we want to start to count them, break those beats down. Okay, so now we're going to go 1, and we'll put a dash because we know we have to sustain it for 2 beats or 2 counts here. So we have 1, 2, and then we're going to bring in our 3, 4, right? And so if we have 2 half notes, I'll use it with my hands. We can go ta, ta. Okay, notice that my hands are clapping on the strong beat, beat 1 and beat 3. Okay, so try it with me. 1, 2, clap with me. Ta, ta. Good, and that's our 4 beats. Okay, when we add our 2 half notes, they equal 4 beats. And of course, let's add our whole notes. Oh, oops, I don't have my whole notes. Oh no. Okay, so if I was to add my whole note here, okay, that was an error for me. And then let's see if I can make this like pretend that these are not here. I could also, let's be fancy because let's just have a little fun here. I could do this, right? Oh, well, it was supposed to cover it, but nothing works for me. So what else can I say? Let's just undo that. Okay, so if we have, I actually can go back to the other slide because it's the same thing. This is just an example here. Okay, so here we have our whole note, right? And we know a whole note gets 4 beats. So ta, right? Ta, simple and easy. All right, I am really, really proud of all of you watching the replay. Okay, so now you understand time signature, okay? Time signature. So now let's put something in play here and have our music game or our class play so that everything connects. Are you ready? Are you ready to sort of connect the dots? Now I'm going to ask you some questions, so pay close attention. Mobile Music 2 for 1. Let's see who else is in the room that might be joining us today, okay? Some people are still not saying hello to me. I don't get it. I'm very friendly. You can say hi, okay? All right, no worries. I appreciate you watching, and I can say thank you for that. Okay, so playing by the rules in 4/4 time. Let me say it again. Playing by the rules in 4/4 time, okay? And some people kind of call the time signature some weird things like, I don't know, just we call it, when you see a 4 and a 4, it's 4/4 time signature or 4/4 time, okay? All right, so we're playing by the rules. The moment your note math reaches 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, you must draw a bar line. That measure is complete. Draw a bar line, and then you go right to the next measure and you count to 1. Okay, you don't go 1, 2, 3, 4 bar line and then you go 5, 6, 7, 8 bar line. No, no, no. We don't count like that. We want to count in 4s. Remember I talked about that groupings with the meter, right? And think of groupings. All right, so you want everything in groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strong, weak, weak, weak. Okay, that's how you want to do that. Now let me see if I can. I didn't test this out. I have to go to Google and share my website with you. And you know, I'm almost apprehensive, if I'm being honest with you, to do this because I don't know if it's going to work for me. But you know what? This is how I learn. So give me a second here. And I do see some questions coming in. So yes, mobile music. Is 4/4 also called common time? Yes, 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 yes. I forgot to talk about that. Yes, it absolutely is. And we mentioned that last week, I believe. Okay, my mother was in the class and she has very little knowledge of music. And so she was asking, what is common time, right? How common is it if you don't know what it means? So yes, in this case, if you're not new to music, and even if you are new to music, this is something that you will come across. So let's see if I can go to one of our slides here. Okay, let's go here. Okay, so remember we talked about how many, right? How many, what kind, okay? And so when we're looking at the top number, right? Let me get a pen here. I'm going to use orange because that was requested, but the pen is a little thick. So here's our top number. Oh, and then of course it's not orange, you see? Oh, you gotta laugh, you gotta laugh. Here's orange. Okay, so here's our top number. How many? We know we're in groups of 4. Everything has to equal 4, okay? Whether it's 2 half notes, 1 whole note, 4 quarter notes, okay? It has to equal 4. That's our math. Then you know we talked about what kind, okay? The quarter notes are running the show. The 4 lets us know that the quarter note gets the beat. But sometimes, you know, 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You hear it all the time. It's so common that we don't even want to put 4/4. We just want to put a C, okay? And so you may come across very likely, okay, that we just put a big C here, okay? And of course, you can't see it here, but I'm going to make it nice and bold here. And I'm going to put it in black. And I'm going to do this here. So let's do it. So big, well, that's really big. So a big, oops, and then I want black and I get orange. Go figure. Okay, so here I'm going to put a big C. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, let's try it. Don't give up. Don't give up. You don't give up on yourself. So here we have a C. Okay, and that's how it would look. Okay, it's just a quick way, instead of having to write 4/4, just a C. Think of it like a shorthand, okay? So if you put a C or if you put 4/4, it's the same thing, okay? Sometimes you'll see a C and go, oh my goodness, what does that mean? That means 4/4. What kind? I'm sorry, how many? 4 beats each measure gets. And the 4 at the bottom, what kind? The quarter note gets the beat. It's so common, we use my first initial, C. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, good job. That was an excellent question, Mobile Music. Thank you. Thank you so much. And of course, 2 for 1 is wishing me luck on trying to share my screen again. Oh, I tell you, I don't give up, but I tell you, I have gone through quite a bit of tech issues. Okay, so any questions while I share my screen using Google Chrome here? I'm sharing a different application here, and I want to go to the website, and I don't know if it will allow me, maybe because I don't have it set up. But let's see here. So give me a second. You can just stay with me. It's okay. And if you have questions, this is a great time to ask me while I'm working this out. Okay? Alrighty. So let's see here. Okay. Oh, okay. It looks like it worked. All right. Do you guys see the Google? Yes? You can let me know. I think you're seeing it. Yeah, I think you're seeing it. Okay, let me know, please, before we go into our activity. Okay. Can you see my screen okay? You should start to see a notation coming up. I'm showing you my notation here. Okay, let's see. Oh, yes. Okay, so it worked. You got to always give it a try because you never know. Okay, thank you, 2 for 1. So here on my screen, this is an example of quarter notes. I have quarter notes in measure 1. I have quarter notes in measure 2, quarter notes in measure 3, quarter notes in measure 4. And look at the notation. It was kind enough to put a number 5 there to let me know that this is measure 5, measure 6, measure 7, and measure 8. And look at the end, you see your double bar line. So here is real notation, okay? Not something that I tried to piece together in my slides, but this is a real notation software, and now you can kind of see it in real time, and I'm going to kind of hopefully play it, and you can let me know that you hear the playback, okay? Okay, so here we have our playback. Okay, let me see if I can, I'm going to actually go here to our metronome, which is a count in. So it's going to give you the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it starts playing. Okay, and so that's so that you can feel the beat, right? Feel that pulse, okay? And of course, I can leave the metronome on or off, but in this case, I'm going to do the count in, and then I want you to listen, okay? So here we go. Listen. Okay, now let's see. You'll let me know if you can hear the audio. Okay, so I'm getting, they look like half notes. Really? Oh no, these are quarter notes. Okay, and is there something written on your note heads? Oh, you're so observant, Mobile Music. You are so observant. Yes. If you look closely, let's see if I can zoom in. Okay, let's see if I can zoom in. Well, maybe that's really zoomed in, so let's not zoom in that much. Okay, is that a little better here? Okay, so let's see. Can you see that a little bit better when I zoom in? And you do hear the audio. You hear the audio. Okay, good. So if I zoom in just for a moment, you will notice, oh my goodness. You will notice that they may look like half notes, but these notes are filled in, okay? These notes are filled in. These are very much quarter notes. But guess what? What if it looked like a quarter note, okay? I mean a half note. But you were able to hear that every quarter note got one beat. Listen. Get ready to play. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there may be a delay, so I'm not going to count every beat, but you you can hear the 4-beat pattern. Every measure is getting 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. If they were half notes, then you would be hearing 2 beats sustained. Ta, ta, right? But if your ear is listening, you would automatically know, well, they don't sound like half notes, but that could be the way the notation is. Now the next thing that let me zoom out here so that you can see what's going on. Mobile Music said, is something on the note head? Yes, in this particular software, you will see the pitch name. Oh, what is that all about? Okay, we have a treble clef. And we know the lines and spaces of the treble clef, right? So if you don't know, you can go back to lesson number 2 because we talked about the lines and spaces of the treble clef. And here I just added those letter names so that you can kind of see that we started on note C. Here's C, get ready. And here's note C, middle C. Now get ready for note D. Notice that the pitch is getting higher. Note E. And now note F, right? Listen to the note G in measure 5. Listen to note A in measure 6. Everything is getting a little bit higher in note B. And then our final measure, note C, the high C, okay? And then the double bar line. Look at that. Look at that, okay? How exciting is that to be able to take all the tools that I just gave you and see it in real time in a notation software, okay? So there is the connection. Let's see if we have some questions coming in. Okay, you're saying here, okay, that is why the white notes look like an open note head, so it looks like a half note. Yes, could have been for you. And everybody's screen is different. Some of you are watching on your cell phones, on tablets, on TVs, on your computer. I mean, you know, whatever. And so the orientation may be different for you, but I can assure you that those are quarter notes. And how many beats does a quarter note get? 1 beat, especially when we know that the what kind, the 4 is at the bottom. You betcha those quarter notes are running the show. Okay, now let's look at some more. Okay, thank you for that. I really do appreciate that. Okay, so now we're going to go to the half notes. Okay, so you were asking about the half notes, and here are your half notes. Okay, so I'm going to just zoom in for you, and there might be a way, but you know what, I'm not going to do it. I was going to change around. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because I don't even trust it. So we'll just leave things as is. You can hear it, you can see it, and that's what we want. Okay, so here we have our half notes, okay? And notice that our time signature is here. We have 4/4 time signature. There are other time signatures, by the way. So if I haven't said this, let me say this right now. There are other time signatures. Okay, so when you go out into the music world, you're not going to just only see C, common time, or 4/4, and say, that's all, I know how to count to 4, and that's all I need to know. In today's lesson, because this is beginner friendly, we're only going to deal with the 4/4 or common time signature. We will learn more about other time signatures, but in today's lesson, it's more important that you know 4 on the top, what does that mean? How many? 4 on the bottom, what kind, okay? And the quarter note gets the beat, the kind of beat, okay? So when we say, what kind of note gets the beat? The quarter note gets the beat. So that's my connection for you. All right, so let's go to our notation, and we're listening for half notes, okay? And you're gonna hear a big difference. Okay, let's put on our count in, right? And oh, it's already up. Okay, so here we go. Get ready. All right. So did you hear that? Okay. Big difference, right? Okay. So there are half notes, and each measure equals 4 beats, right? We have 2 half notes. A half note gets 2 beats. 2 plus 2 equals 4. For that, how many? Okay. All right. Let's see. Questions? No questions. Okay. So we're rocking and rolling. Almost finished, okay? Class will soon be dismissed. Don't you worry. Okay, so now we're going to go to whole notes, okay? Whole notes. All right, so let's see if my whole notes will open up for me. Okay, it opened up on another page. Okay, go figure. All right, just a moment. Here we go. Okay, can you see this? Am I showing my whole notes? I think I am. Okay. All right. So here are our whole notes. Okay. And just so that we're clear, in this particular notation, I personally added the letter names so that you can see them. But standard music is not going to have notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and back to C. You're just going to see the whole note. But because we're learning, I wanted to add that so that things could connect a little bit better for you, okay? All right, so we're going to make sure our metronome count in is checked off, and we're going to now listen to the whole note. Remember, we're holding for 4 beats because every measure has to equal how many? 4. Okay, here we go. Listen to the whole note. Okay, all right. So listen to the whole notes. What did you think about that? We were able to listen to the quarter notes, the half notes, and the whole notes, okay? And we were able to see it all in real time with our software notation, okay? Fantastic. Let's see if there's any questions coming in. And we're going to do our class play, okay? Because everything has to make sense, okay? Everything has to make sense. So I'll give you a few minutes to, ask questions, and then we're going to do our class play, okay? And then we'll send you off so you can enjoy your Saturday. It's a beautiful day, whether it's rainy, sunny. Hopefully it's not too cold. Okay. Let's see if we have any questions. Oh, I see a question coming in here. And we have this is someone that I have never seen before. So thank you. I won't try to say your name, but AWAH, Awa. Okay, what about the 8th and the 16th note? Yes, we will talk about the 8th and the 16th notes because as you can see, it's about math, right? But because this is a beginner's class and I really like to be very deliberate, I'm going to have a whole lesson on 8th notes and 16th notes so that everything ties together, so that if someone comes in, such as yourself, so bold and brave to ask such a question, thank you, then I can say, yes, if you were watching lesson number 4, unit 2, when we talked about whole, half, quarter, and time signature, and now I'm talking about 8th notes, it won't seem so confusing, okay? So I really like to go very, very slow, but I appreciate you asking, okay? I really, really do. All right, that's an excellent question. Okay, so here we are. We're back at our class play. So now let's see if I can get that back. Okay, it looks like I got it back. All right, so here we go. Mobile Music is coming in to say something to look forward to. Absolutely. So if you want to learn about 8th notes and 16th notes, because they are just as important as the whole, half, quarter notes, okay? And there's 37. I mean, I don't want to go on and on because I can go on and on and on, right? Music makes me very excited, as you can see. But yes, there's a lot to learn. And if you continue to stay with us, you will see. And for those who are very, very new, some people have no idea what you're asking me. What's an eighth? What's a 16th? And so because of that, I really like to really take my time. I find that everybody jumps and assumes people know things, and a lot of times there's gaps in our music learning, music education, and I want to be sure that you have no gaps. All right. Thank you again. I really appreciate that. Okay, and tell me where you're coming from. What part of the world are you joining us? Because it will be great to know where you're chiming in. We're here in New York. Okay, we're in the city. All right. So here we have our class play. Okay. And our class play is, I like to say it's fun. You might not think so, but I hope you do. Okay, so the first thing is we want you to count the beats, okay? And we've done this already, so it shouldn't be too hard to do, okay? We know that our time signature is here. Actually, I'm trying to circle the whole thing. Our time signature is here. So let's get your pencil. I have blue now. I changed my color. Okay, so we went from orange to blue. Okay, so here's our time signature, and now we're going to count the beats. Okay, and I won't do all measures because I think you get the idea. Okay, and we have resources at our school. So here we have beat 1, we have beat 2, and it's right underneath the quarter note here, okay? And we have beat 3, and we have beat 4, okay? And of course, I'm writing with my pen, my mouse, so they're not going to look that good. But here we were able to write our beats, and then let's go to measure 2. We have our half note, which is gets 2 beats, so that's 1, 2. Actually, let's bring the 2 over because we know that we want to hold that, and so I want to be very deliberate in my count. So we have our dash, and this is coming in with beat 2. So you have to think of the half note holding all the way into beat 2, and then we have our next half note. Let's go with number 3. Remember, oh my goodness, look at that number 3. Let's see if we can draw our numbers. Let's see if we can write our numbers here. And here's beat 3, and we have our dash going all the way because we sustain our beats or sustain our sound into beat 4. Okay, and then of course here is our whole note. So we're going to go beat 1, and we're going to have 4 beats in this measure. Okay, easy, right? Very, very easy. Okay, so, and I'll let you figure the last 2 measures 5 and that measure 6. Now you can, if you wish, tap your foot to each beat. So you can do it with me, and then we're going to clap the notes while counting the beats. Okay, so some measures I didn't do measure 3 because it's the same as measure 1, and measure 5 you should be able to figure that one out on your own, and then measure 6 I think you can figure that as well. So let's get our fingers. Let me get my fingers wiggly. Put it in your body. Give it a little shake. Come on, shake it to the camera. Okay, so we're going to count and clap. I'm going to count and clap, okay? Now there may be a delay, which, you know, it's live streaming, okay? If you were here in person, everything would be in sync. But we'll do the best we can, okay? So I'm going to give you a count in, okay? And we're going to count these beats and clap them. You can clap or tap your toe or whatever makes you feel that you can kind of feel that beat, okay? The groupings of 4. All right, here we go. All right. 1, so here we go. 1, 2, ready, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I realize I did that, but you might not have known which measure I was in, right? Because maybe you're having a hard time following along. So let me try to tap my desk here. Actually, this is a baby grand piano that needs some tuning. Go figure, right? But that's okay. I'm going to tap, and so hopefully you might be able to hear that, okay, with my microphone. And then I'm going to use my pen to show you where I am in the music, okay? So let's do that together. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Well, you know what? It's like counting, it's like chewing gum and walking, right? So let me go a little bit slower so I can be even more deliberate. 1, 2, follow me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, should I do it again? Okay, you'll let me know if I need to do that again. And try it at home, okay? Try it at home. Okay, so it looks like I'm gonna say awa, which you can, I wish there was a way for you to tell me how to say your handle. But you said thanks. Man, I'm from South Africa. Oh my goodness. Welcome. My interest in piano made me intensely go into interval scales and circle of fifths. Okay, so we haven't gotten quite that close to circle of fifths and scales and intervals, but yes, I see the correlation and voice leading. Okay, and you're interested in guitar. You can't read well yet. Okay, so that's okay. First of all, thank you for letting me know where you're coming in from. South Africa is quite a distance, okay? But we welcome you. Don't give up on reading music. Come on back to Live in the Music Room. We're literally starting from the very beginning. So if you're familiar with intervals and scales and circle of fifths, right? And you want to be able to apply it to your guitar playing, what a great way to be right here at the beginning stages. And guess what? This is a nice review because maybe you are familiar with this and then maybe there are some gaps as I just talked about. So if you can't read, watch some of the replay because I give you the beginning stages of reading music. Give me a high five for telling me where you're coming from. South Africa is in the house. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And you're sharing that you visited Illinois. Okay. Okay. And New York. All right. Well, this is great. Okay. I don't know if you want to come to New York today. It's cold and rainy. But we welcome you here and Live in the Music Room, and be sure to come back next week, okay? And this is a great time for me to say like and subscribe, okay? How fitting. Please, awa, like and subscribe, okay? Please, all right? All the way from South Africa, all right? We appreciate you. And Mobile Music is saying, please visit NY. Yes, NYC to be clear, right? Come to New York City. But come to New York. We would love to have you. All right. And we always love meeting other musicians. It's a wonderful place. This is a safe place. And we enjoy learning music. And we're going to be talking to other people who are guitar instrumentalists, players, and things. So we're going to not just be doing theory, but I think that if we deal with the theory, all the other things kind of fall right in line. Okay, so thank you for that. Okay, so let's finish up. And 2 for 1 is letting us know it's a great day to catch a show. Oh yes, that's right. If you're here in New York City, it's a great day to catch a Broadway show or off Broadway or any show, okay, off Broadway or some kids shows. We got to support the arts. Thank you for that 2 for 1. Okay. All right. So how did you do with your class play? Okay. All right, so now our last class play, because we're kind of doing it in a little extended class. I should have ended a little while ago, but I'm having such a good time. You know, people are coming in saying hello. I mean, I can see the amount of people in the room, and no one is coming over to say hi, Miss Christine. Oh boy, I won't cry. I won't cry. Okay, so here we go. We have class play number 2. Okay, this will be our final one. And I'm going to use purple, okay? So we're going to write the beats under each note. And you have to remember that each measure equals what? 4 beats. That's that 4 on the top. Remember how I talked about how many and what kind? You're going to be saying that when you leave the room, the classroom today. You're going to say how many and what kind. So when you're home and you're with your family and friends, you should say how many and what kind. And they're going to look at you like, what are you talking about? But you and I will know, okay? All right, so here we go. Here we go. Let's have some more fun. Oh, Abdullah. Okay, Abdullah. Okay, he said he was going to change his handle. All right. Well, I'm pretty bad with names anyway, so you don't have to change it, but I'll recognize you because you're going to say, my friend from South Africa, and I'll give you a shout out. All right. Thank you. All right. So here we go with our class play. And we're going to write in the beats, okay? So this is a great time for you to write in the chat. What would I write for measure number 1, okay? What would I write in? How many, what do? I don't know what to do. Could you help me out here? I need a little help, okay? So I need a little help. Could you help me out, please? Okay, so measure 1, for those of you who are new or just coming in, it is this sort of box here. Think of it, I think last time I talked about you could pretend like it's a music box, okay, for our measures. So how would I count the beats here for measure 1? Okay, so Mobile Music is coming in with their answer as 1, 2, 3, 4. Very simple. Yes. How do you know that, Mobile Music? Okay. We always want to know how. How did you come up with it? But that is correct. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, and we have 4, okay? And we know because how many, right? Let me hear you say it. How many? Oh, yeah. And what kind? Oh, boy, you got to have some fun. Okay, so yes. That is how we would count the beats underneath, okay? Abdullah is watching as well, okay? Now let's go to measure 2. How would we count the beats, all right? Come on and put your answer in the chat. Let's hear from you. How would we count the beats in measure 2? Okay, don't be shy. You can tell me, and even if it's incorrect, that's okay. This is a learning laboratory, as I like to say. Okay, so I'll give you a few seconds to put your answer in the chat, and then I'm going to go ahead and count those beats. Okay, so we have beat 1, because we know a quarter note gets 1 beat, and we have beat 2. Now, of course, my lines are a little bit crooked here, but you get the idea, okay? And then we have 3-4, okay? Because the way measure 2 would sound is ta, 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 right? And measure 1 would sound ta, 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 or 1, 2, 3, 4 for measure 1. And measure 2, we would count it as 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, notice that I didn't count on beat 4 because we're sustaining the sound into beat 4. Okay, all right, very, very nice job, 2 for 1, coming in with the 1, 2, 3-4 with a question mark. Okay, all right, and our buddy from South Africa, come on with your answer. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 2 quarter notes are 2, and half beat is 2 beats. Yes, I understand exactly what you're saying, and that is correct. So look at you. You told me you couldn't read music, and look at you counting the beats. Give yourselves a little pat on the back, okay? Good work. All right, let's continue. We have a half note. How do we count measure 3? I'll go back to measures 1 and 2 while you're figuring out measures 3. Okay, so we're on measure 3, and here's measure 1 and 2 again. We had 1. Actually, I'll do it on ta again. So 1, 2, ready, and we have ta. So we have ta, 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 ta. Okay, sometimes it's hard to follow where you are when you don't have a little marker. Okay, and that's why I showed you the notation, because you had your marker to kind of follow right along with the music. Okay, so now let's look at measure 3. We have measure 3. We have a half note, so we know we have to sustain it for 2 beats. So we're going to put our, we're going to put our dash, right? We're going to put our dash there so that we know that we're sustaining it for 2 counts. Okay, and then here's 3. My little lines underneath my notes are so crooked, but that's part of the fun. Okay, all right, so let's do measure 3. Okay, so get your clapping hands, wiggle out your body. Okay, so here we go. Measure 3. We have ta, 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 right? Because a half note gets 2 beats, right? Abdul said that, okay? And we know that 2 quarter notes are going to get 2 beats, or quarter note 1 and quarter note 1. That's what I'm saying, okay? So measure 3, we have ta, ta, ta. Okay, so here we go. Measure 4, measure 4. What do we put? How do we count these beats in measure 4? Do you know how to count the beats in measure 4? Do you know how to count the beats? Do you know how to count the beats? You see how I could just make up a song? I'm clapping to the beat. Do you know, 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 do you know? Okay. Okay, I know 2 for 1 is laughing. Come on, 2 for 1. Show me your emoji. All right, here we go for measure 4, okay? So we have beat 1, we have beat 2, and then, this is supposed to be a 2, and then we have our half note, and so this is now beat 3, going into beat 4, holding it into beat 4, okay? And of course, mobile music is now, mobile music is giving me a little laugh. I see you 2 for 1. And mobile music gave me their answer. 1, 2, 3-4. We're going to do that together, okay? Abdul, come on in. Don't be bashful anymore. I want to hear from you again, okay? So we have measure 4. We have, we'll do our clapping hands, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Or if I do it on ta, 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 ta. Look at that, okay? Look at that. And measure 5, okay? And you will notice once you start working with computer software like music notation, that they will sometimes put the measure number in for you. How helpful is that? But we know because we're getting all the tools that we need right here in Live in the Music Room. Okay, so I see Abdul is coming through with his answer. Hey, okay, 1, 2, 3-4 is correct. Job well done, and thank you. Thank you for your answer. Okay, measure 5. Measure 5 is very similar to measure 1. So you should know automatically that is beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4, right? So let's clap that together even though we did that for measure 1. Fingers wiggled. Here we go. 1, 2, clap with me. We're going to do it on ta, by the way. 1, 2, clap with me. Ta, 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 ta. Simple as that, okay? All right, good job. And then our final measure is measure number 6. And we have a whole note. And how many beats do we hold a whole note? Okay, you should know it's 4. Look at that. 4. Can you sing it with me? 4. Abdul, let me hear you. 4. 2 for 1, let me hear you. 4. Oh, we didn't talk about dynamics yet. Okay. All right, let me get going. Good, good, good. 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 4 beats. Beautiful job, beautiful job. Okay, so here's beat 1, and we're going to do our dash, right? Because we need to know visually that we're holding it. We're sustaining it. That's just another way of saying holding it, okay? I don't want my vocabulary to confuse anyone, okay? And there you go. So now let's do it together. I'm going to tap so that I can use my little mouse to follow along. Now there may be a delay, so we'll take that into consideration, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, follow me. We have ta, 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 ta. Oh, I almost tapped on beat 2. Did you hear that? Yeah. Let me do measure 6 again. 1, 2, ready, and ta. Right? Because we don't tap on beat 2. We tap on beat 1. Okay. Wonderful job. We had such a great lesson, okay? And I extended a little bit because I got excited. That's what happens sometimes. But I want to say thank you to, oh, wait a minute. I wasn't showing my screen. Was I showing my screen? Oh my goodness, I did that. Oh boy, tell me if I was sharing my screen or not, because otherwise I have to do it again. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, let me know. I probably wasn't sharing my screen. Okay. I know there's a delay, so I apologize. If I wasn't sharing my screen, I'm sorry. I'm going to do it again, okay? I didn't realize that. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, okay. Yes, I see 2 for 1's answers are coming in too. You want to put those dashes and holding for 4 beats, okay? 2 for 1, let me know if I was sharing my class play number 2 while we did the whole 6 measures together. Okay, let me know, because I don't have mods, as they call them, moderators yet, or whatever I'm still new to social media. I am, it's a party of 2 going on here, but you know what? We're growing, growing, growing. This is a nice little plug to say like and subscribe. You can never say it enough, so let me say it one more time. Okay, Abdul, come on from South Africa, give me a thumbs up, okay, because you're learning some music today, and we would like you to subscribe. Yes, I see about 16 people in the room. Please give me a like and subscribe. And if you're watching the replay, please give me a like and subscribe. Yes, I am singing everything today. I don't know why. Okay, maybe because I love to sing. That could be it too. Okay, but I'm just having fun with you. Okay. Let me see. Not sure. I don't know. You stepped away. Okay. All right. 2 for 1. That's understandable. So anyway, if I did or didn't, I'll do it one last time for good measure. Okay. It doesn't hurt to do it one more time. All right. So let's see if we do our counting one more time, okay? Here we go. So I'm going to be tapping, and hopefully you can hear that, okay? Because right now the kind of microphone is almost picking up everything in the room, which is not always good. But you should be able to hear the tapping. Okay, here we go. I'm going to give my count in, and we're going to do it on ta, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and ta, 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 ta. Wow, that was really, really good. I have to say so myself. Okay, and I know I was sharing my screen. Okay. So let's see what comments we have before we say our goodbyes. Um, Two for One said, you got it. Abdul is giving me a thumbs up. Okay, now Abdul, you're giving me a thumbs up in the live stream. I want you to look at the bottom and put the thumbs up where the live stream is, so you know the YouTube robots and all of their friends that are non-human can see the thumbs up. Okay. All right. Too much information, Two for One. Thank you, but we didn't need to know that you had to go to the toilet. Okay. So we want to, yes, mobile music. I think that's funny too. I mean, sometimes I just don't want to know. All right. But we all have to go, hopefully. So listen, I want to say thank you for joining in. Let me put in the chat the resources for today, okay? Because I want you to go, Abdul, especially since you said you want to learn music. All right, there's several different videos, all in Unit 1 that gives you the fundamentals. So if you already know about intervals and scales and circles of fifths, the circle of fifth, that's great, okay? But somewhere along the line, there's some gaps if you're still not able, say, to read. And so I would love or challenge you to go to the very beginning and then work your way back up. It's, you know, even I don't have a problem going backwards on things I know, because there's always something you can learn, or like, oh, I forgot all about that, right? So it's nothing wrong with going back, revisiting things that you know, and then picking up some new things along the way. But I enjoyed speaking with you, excuse me, all the way in South Africa. I hope you'll join us next week. Next week, we're going to be on time, okay? I had a heck of a week, but I wanted to show up for you because I'm committed, and I want you to be committed. So if I can be committed, I know you can too. Excuse me. So let me put in the chat to go to our school store and get the resources, okay? They are free, by the way, okay? I should mention that. They're not going to be free forever. But right now, today, in this moment, okay, whenever you're watching this, it is free, okay? There is no paywall. You just have to put your email address because we need to send it to you, okay? And so there you have it. Here is the school store. Excuse me. And go get the resources. Go get the resources. Okay. I may need to get some water. So Abdul is saying, I arrange simple, is that quarters on MuseScore. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Yes, I use MuseScore too, and it's free. All right, so Mobile Music is saying how impressive. Wonderful, wonderful. So what are you saying here? I can read, but very slowly. Okay, and you struggle with the 8th and the 16th notes in rhythm. Yeah, so if you're struggling with the 8th notes, it's good to go back to the beginning. So if you know whole note, half note, quarter, and then if we go to 8th note, this is almost like a crash course. Okay, so if you know a quarter note gets one beat, and we even go less than that, now we're at a half a beat. Right, so I don't want to get ahead, so let me not do that, because then it's not fair to all of our other students. But the math, okay, so everything starts to go half, 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 and you just keep cutting down. And the 8th notes are obviously faster, even playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you know, or the 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and so I don't want to talk too much, because I find that when I'm in classes and I'm new or know bits and pieces of information, and then people start bringing in advanced terms, and the rest of the group is kind of like, we don't know. I don't always think it's fair. That's just me. So when we get to 8th notes, I hope that you will join us. If you get the resources, then I'll have you on my mailing list, and I can email you, Abdul. I don't spam, and then you'll know when we're dealing with 8th notes. But I got a feeling you're coming back next week because you've enjoyed this lesson, and you're going to continue to enjoy even more lessons. Okay, all right. So I'm glad that you truly understand, ma'am, and you've been enjoying the video. So give me a high five on that. Thank you for that. That means quite a bit. All right, so I've been talking and I need some water. I want to enjoy my Saturday. I want you to enjoy your Saturday. So let me say thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the replay. Thank you, Abdul. Thank you, 2 for 1. Thank you, Mobile Music. Thank you to the people that didn't say anything, because even with you watching, that means a lot, okay? Pat yourself on the back, okay, for showing up for yourself, doing something just for you, learning. And that's the best thing you can ever do for yourself. Keep music in your heart, and I'll see you next Saturday, 10 a.m. No, not 10 a.m. Oh my goodness. 10:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live here in the music room. Be sure to like and subscribe and go get those resources. Until then, I'll see you in the next lesson.